Alright,
All
looks
right.
like we're getting started here. Okay, with the bands and picks.
Hack looks like he's taking his time making that first choice of a ban. Both teams not really knowing each other that well. And we see a Blitzcrank being dropped, a very popular ban, especially with him being a very strong support and team fight champion.
hmm That hook can prove to be quite difficult for most anybody to deal with, especially if caught in a bad situation. The second ban seems to be going out to Malphite. Yeah, go ahead, tell you.
His ultimate is a game changer where it doesn't matter where he is. He can go in and just cause that much extra CC and just bring in the fray. And it's just a lot of fun to see a Malphite coming out of the bushes and scaring you when he just roams over that wall and hits you.
That unstoppable force, too strong.
Shen, another popular ban, especially with his ultimate. He can be in the top lane pushing. He can be anywhere, and when he's needed, drop that ulti.
Yep, that shield is quite strong, and a fourth ban going out for a Mumu. The presence of his ult, making any AoE composition in a team fight pretty much unstoppable, along with a good jungle and a fast clear.
And then Lee Sin is a what used to be a popular band back when he first came out, but he started to become more of a balanced character. Still considered top tier. Very good clear times, very strong gank, especially with him being an energy champion and not being so reliant upon the blue buff that he can give it to his mid lane or his top, depending which one he did more, almost immediately.
Yeah. Alright,
And the last
which,
band going out to Cho'Gath, that seems pretty new to me. Either this team really knows what uh, that Skyloft's really going to pick, like they've played them before. But really, that's just new to me. Any ideas of why Cho'Gath would be banned?
Cho'Gath is usually pretty strong during the mid game. His slow and silence are pretty annoying, along with a 1000 damage, true damage ultimate. Let's get into the picks now. We had a first pick Anivia, and then followed by a second and third pick Leona and Diana. What do you think about that mid fight?
Well, the mid fight looks like it's going to be Deanna versus Anivia. Deanna definitely has a gap closing ability at level 6. Before then, Anivia is definitely going to have that upper hand when it comes to farming and harass. And if there's going to be a gank coming down from blue team's jungle, Deanna's really only defense is going to be to flash out and her shield, whereas all of her mobility comes from her ultimate later on.
hmm It looks like they went for picking their jungle early on the blue team by picking Nocturne, and picking their AD carry as well as Graves.
Now maybe we'll see Nocturne trading off with either Sideclick or King David for a top lane, as I'm going to take a guess at because he's still carrying Ignite.
Oh yeah. Also, we have Ezreal picked up, so it looks like it's going to be an Ezreal Leona bot lane, along with a jungle Maokai coming out.
Very strong, especially with Ezreal being able to split up his damage between an auto attack, his Q, another auto attack, his W, or his E, and even his W. All of his skills will proc off that Leona's passive. And with Leona having 3 skills and him having 3 auto attacks and 3 skills, he will definitely be able to pick up on that advantage of the Leona's passive.
hmm Looks like we're waiting for the fourth and fifth pick from the blue team. Doesn't look like they have a support picked out yet, so they're probably going to go for that, and they're probably going to go for a top lane. We'll see what they got here. Looks like Lulu being hovered on. So, what do you think? How do you think Lulu would fit for this team?
Lulu is one of the unsung supports. She is very strong with just about any bottom lane AD carry. It just does not get the credit she does deserve. Everyone wants to pick up Tarek and Graves, Sona and Ezreal, all these popular lane combinations. But Lulu is able to do a knockup, especially when healing, not right healing, but outright giving more health to the AD carry, causing more CC. a skill shot slow for harass can give her picks off to her AD carry for extra damage. She is a very strong support with a ton of utility.
Mm-hmm. Um, Also, it looks like they picked up Irelia for the top lane, and purple team may be hovering on a Jax pick to play up against that Irelia right now.
Jax has a good, strong advantage when it comes to Aurelia, but both can counter each other. If Jax goes in with a higher health, Aurelia is going to get that stun, and that can definitely turn a fight, especially when it comes to him tower diving
Yeah.
or setting up a gank. However, Jax has that same capability of being a stun, and definitely has the advantage when it comes to being able to dodge her charges and her auto attacks. And Aurelia's auto attacks is what gives her the sustain and lane with her true damage lifesteal.
Mm-hmm. That lane matchup is pretty fairly skill based, actually, considering that both of them have quite a fair trade advantage. But it slightly goes in the favor of the character for Irelia because of her hit 10 style passive that grants the life gain from per hit. But it looks like we're gonna be loading in and we're gonna be hitting the 3-minute delay. So as that is going on, I would like to say that we are going to run a quick set of 3 ads, and we will be right back as soon as the game starts. Thank you all for watching, and we're gonna run those ads right now.
Welcome to weekly number 5. Let me know when we got about 10 seconds left. Gonna go get something to drink.
Okay.
Are we back?
No, we have another about 60 seconds
Oh wow.
because it's 3 ads.
Yeah. I just looked at the delay timer and it was, already halfway through. I was like, ooh.
We got about 20 seconds left. Alright, we have 30 seconds left till we are back in the game.
Now, we still need to match up this Nocturne and this Maokai. Both have extremely good clear times.
We're not back.
Oh, we're not? Well,
We're not back yet. Silly.
well fine.
Alright, we got 10 seconds now. Alright, we're live.
Alright, now we still need to match up this Nocturne and Maokai jungle. Both have good clear times, both have very strong ganks. However, Nocturne is a lot less reliant on that blue buff early on, where Maokai really needs it for his cooldown reduction and his mana to keep on pushing through the jungle.
How do you feel it's gonna be with the ganking? Is it you feel any early ganks gonna come out or an invade potential actually?
With these team comps, I definitely see if there is no invasions, Nocturne pulling a level maybe 2 gank out, but his best bet is a level 3 gank.
hmm It looks like on the Border Wars we have 4 platinum and 1 gold against 5 gold.
But borders don't mean everything.
No, they don't. Oh,
Now,
we have a diamond actually too. Didn't see that.
we have a diamond. Fantastic. Now, when it comes to skin intimidation,
Looks
we
like
have Skyloft winning it with 2 skins, Bittersweet and that Frostblade Aurelia, everyone's favorite Aurelia skin. However, here at Tower Dive, we know skins don't mean jack, and we are going to go through with this, hoping for the best of fights.
yes. Who would you give the advantage to in an invade here?
On an invade, I can definitely see Red Team having the stronger invade, mainly because if Leona takes her E, that is a ranged root and stun. Maokai's definitely going to take a sapling, regardless if he's invading or jungling, just for that extra sight. And it does AoE damage.
Mm-hmm.
You have Diana's arc. You have Ezreal with his auto attack and his skill shot, also with Leona's passive. If they go in for an invade, you're definitely going to see Jax with his dodge. So they definitely have a lot of strong potential when it comes to the level 1 invade. And it does look like they are going to set up, though, in their red buff. So let's hope for the best.
Yeah, they look like they're roaming to that top bush by top lane. Unfortunately for them, Irelia is peeking out by the blue, so if they do attempt, they will be spotted. Looks like they're setting up fairly safely on the blue side, but I'm not too sure if they're going to be able to get anything off. We'll see.
Well, again, red team has a lot of CC potential at level 1. Meanwhile, the blue team is spread out covering their blue buff. Lulu's dropping a ward near their wraiths, so they'll definitely be able to see Maokai going in and out of his jungle very early.
Yeah. As we're playing the patient game here.
And we see Graves pinging the golems, wanting that early golem advantage. Definitely getting that third of a level, and that slight gold advantage is always nice to have whenever you are the blue team.
Oh, we have the red team.
Going in.
The red team is going out. The flash from Maokai, landing the root. The flash from Jax, landing the stun. The exhaust coming out. And the pull from Diana, getting the first blood onto Jax. Oh.
Successful gank, definitely winding it down and escalating it so quickly. We have Maokai going in with jungling the wolves and making sure that Nocturne is denied that jungle. Meanwhile, it looks like Nocturne is going for the red team's blue buff and seems to have no contestation. Meanwhile, Maokai is going to go ahead and take the blue team's blue buff. So they're just sitting here trading jungles back and forth.
Yeah, that early lead for top lane is going to be quite crucial in the Irelia Jax matchup. Him being able to start off 400 gold ahead, and it looks like we have some pings on mid.
Definitely, we see Maokai trying to set up a gank in the mid lane. However, Anivia was just sitting too far back for the initiation, especially with Maokai no longer having flash, and Deanna also not having her flash or exhaust. Looks like the red team used a lot of their summoner spells for that first blood, but it's definitely worth it as a demoralization tool.
Mm-hmm. Looks like everybody's just now settling into the laning phase.
You see trades going back and forth between the top lane. You see Jax up here just doing what he can to deny this Aurelia the farm, because if Aurelia can get farm in the early phase, she does scale and snowball pretty well. So Jax is doing his job by keeping double the farm and just harassing Aurelia at any given chance he has the ability to. Definitely keeping her pushed away from the minions.
Mm-hmm. And it looks like the mid exchange going down, the ignite coming out from Anivia, but it's not enough with the shield protecting Diana.
Definitely keeping her pushed back. And you see the flash, and you see another Q. Just not enough harass and not enough range and damage.
No, not at all. That follow-up just wasn't enough for Anivia to kill Diana right there.
That flash use is really going to hurt her, especially with Maokai now knowing. And there's the ping to set up a gank. Anivia no longer having her flash, but definitely looks like...
Oh, there's actually a dash onto Graves in the bot lane. Leona landed a stun. It looks like Leona's following up with her shield. They get exhaust goes down onto Graves. The cleanse coming out. The Ezreal getting the ignite, flashing while exhaust, missing the cue ball. Actually, in the mid lane, Maokai was taken out by Nocturne and Anivia. It looks like Nocturne picking up the kill and getting the double buff.
That's correct. Maokai was coming in to the mid lane to gank Anivia. However, Nocturne was in the opposite bush, ready to counter gank, knowing that it was coming in. And Nocturne's fear combined with Anivia's slowing abilities kept Maokai in
We actually have a fight going down on the bot lane with Leona landing a stun and the blade onto Graves and picking up the kill with just an auto attack. He was pretty low that fight.
Definitely. Graves should have stayed back. He should have backed off when you saw he had low health, especially when you have a Leona in the opposite lane. That range is pretty deep. You're going to see her just able to E in with her shield on and then stunning you with another Q. That's 3 passes that's getting put out. And if that Ezreal is quick, he will definitely be able to take advantage of all 3.
It looks like there's a stun going down on the Jax in the bot lane. He lands his dodge and gets the stun off onto Irelia, keeping him pretty safe.
Very good maneuver in disengaging. However, I don't think this Nocturne is getting into position well enough, as Jax was easily able to see him thanks to the creeps there, but he is recalling. You have Aurelia backing off to recall as well. And in the mid lane, you have all these trades going back and forth with all the harass. Diana needing to shield quite often to keep herself in the lane, where you have the farm going back and forth, and Nivea having that 2 farm more, and both having an assist under their belts. So Diana is definitely not deprived in any way. They're on even levels here.
As of right now, the CS advantage seems to be pretty fair in between them.
Most definitely. You have Graves and Ezreal going back and forth. However, Ezreal having that assist is definitely going to put him a leg up, just barely over Graves, if not even equal out the farm. Graves definitely having an easier time CSing in this lane.
Yeah, with the poke coming out from Lulu, it seems to be quite effective at giving him the space he needs to get those last hits out.
And in the mid lane, we see Nocturne going to the bushes to set up another gank on Diana. However, Diana having both summoner spells.
Oh, actually a flash coming out from Jax on top lane. The slow coming out from Irelia and landing onto Jax. But Maokai not... Oh, flashing after landing the root. He knocks up Irelia. The Ignite coming down onto the Maokai, taking the tower hits. Will the Ignite be enough to take him down? Ooh, and she does trade 1 for 1 in the top lane.
And as for that mid lane initiation by Nocturne, the wall missed with Anivia, so Diana got away perfectly safe and is using a health potion now to keep herself sustained in the lane. We have Jax just free farming his lane up top due to Aurelia being down. However, Aurelia using everything she could to secure that kill on Maokai will definitely keep her in the laning in an even situation. Jax with 46 CS and 2 kills, a first blood and another kill on Aurelia. That's worth 700 gold. So we're looking at Aurelia with 1 kill, 2 deaths, and 20 less farm. Jax definitely has the advantage up in the top lane, and that's exactly what he needs in this early game to secure a leg over Aurelia.
It actually does look like this game is being pretty action-filled, which is really good. Can't catch everything though, which is quite unfortunate.
Well, that's why there's 2 of us, buddy.
Yeah.
Now, looks like we have Maokai securing his blue buff and moving over to the wolves, keeping a steady pattern with his jungling, always keeping his experience up and keeping actually very well in levels with his team. Most junglers have a hard time keeping up in the same level, while you see Nocturne giving away his blue buff to Anivia, who secures it and the little farm also as well with it. You have Maokai going into the enemy jungle, trying to counter jungle and grab what he can. Notices that the Wraiths are gone and drops a ward to make sure he sees Nocturne going in and out. Very strong play, especially in the jungling, because you want to know where your opponent is. If you have no idea where your opponent is, you can't set up a gank, you can't farm safely, or you can't even counter gank.
Yeah. That's a really, really well-placed ward right there by the Wraiths. That's a great spot to keep your mid safe and to potentially keep your bottom safe and to let you know if he is going to take his red. Actually, that ward was really smart by the Maokai.
Most definitely. Mage definitely knows what they are doing. And we see Maokai going to take their own red buff. A ping going down on Anivia telling his team that, hey, she's going after Race. So you see Diana coming back into the lane knowing that she needs to be there.
Poke war going down on the top lane.
It's crazy. You see Jax going in every possible chance he has to keep that damage on Aurelia and make sure Aurelia knows who's boss in that top lane. And that's the kind of fight I love seeing. Now you have Olivia sitting in this bush, going in for her ultimate Q, but was not able to get her frostbite off, which is her E for that extra.
We actually have an exchange going down on the bot lane. Leona was just a little too overextended for that Ezreal. He took quite a bit of damage from that.
Graves looks like he's trying to build that early sustain with a Vamp Scepter and a Doran's Blade with only that one back caused from his death. Looks like he's really just trying to save up, especially with enough money in his inventory right now to go back and buy a second Doran's Blade, which is a very popular thing to do.
Do you see the Nocturne? He's sitting in the bush in the bot lane right now. It looks like he's trying to make a play, but unfortunately the bush before that was warded. So,
So the red team is definitely going to be playing the safe, knowing that Nocturne's sitting right there, which is just denying him the ability to go far.
oh, we actually have Leona going in underneath the tower. The Leona actually just barely missing. Nocturne ulting in on top of the Ezreal, landing the Dust Trail, but getting the last auto attack and giving the kill to Nocturne on Ezreal, and Leona picking up the kill on Nocturne as well underneath the tower.
Definitely, if Leona could have got that stun just a little earlier, she could have saved Ezreal. However, it was just at that range, and the distance and the speed of her E is just not that fast.
Looks like Maokai Root going down on top of the Graves. The Leona Blade landing onto Graves' Cleansing. Slow going down onto Leona while Graves is getting taken down by the Maokai. Looks like he's just running into the tower, accepting his defeat, while Diana is going down onto the Lulu, exhausting the Lulu. Lulu counters back with an exhaust of her own, the Crescent Strike missing. Anivia going down onto Maokai, trying to land any kind of damage she has.
Leona was just missing that stun, and that could have done a lot of help, especially with keeping Anivia in place with 3 people there. And Anivia just coming back with that ultimate and her frostbite again, nailing Deanna down. And that is just a lot of burst damage, especially with E's passive of if they are chilled by one of her spells, which is either her Q or her ultimate, it does double the damage, and you do feel that.
Yeah, you do. That she could have probably actually picked up a kill onto that Maokai, but she was a little bit too slow on landing her ice pick. Her E ability.
Oh yeah, that frostbite is very strong. And then you have Ezreal using his ulti to try and harass that Aurelia, as well as landing some farm. So it wasn't all in waste, but it's definitely a good way to say, hey, I might be in bot lane, but I see you up top. And Jax just keeping this heavy lead in farm. 24 CS high and
the stun actually going down on the Jax. The Jax landing his passive from his ultimate. The ignite going down. But will it be enough? She turns back around and gets leaped on by the Jax, and the Jax takes her down.
Very, very nice play by Jax. I would never expect that Aurelia to turn around, especially with the ignite being on Jax. I would have taken that ignite.
Oh, the Sunstrike coming out from Leona, landing the stun onto Graves. Graves getting rooted and ulted by Lulu, but getting taken down by the Ezreal. It looks like they're going to persist this on the tower. No, they're not. It looks like they're going to back out and take the free kill.
That Maokai ulti was very well played, especially under that tower. The tower damage just escalating every time it hits you. And with that 20% reduction on Maokai's ultimate, it is definitely a strong ability to use and very well placed.
Yeah, that gank was pretty smart by them. That Tribush wasn't warded prior to the gank. Unfortunately, so they did not see it coming.
Blue team is having a struggling time with wards, only having 1 ward on the entire map. Meanwhile, red has a couple of them sitting near the blue buff and the red buff. They are keeping that control onto the enemy team. Meanwhile, blue team drops a secondary ward in their bottom bush close to their turret. Definitely wanting to keep that vision because they know that Ezreal and Leona are easily able to push them now.
Do you see them making a dragon play anytime soon, actually?
Well, if they can get the bottom lane pushed just so much, I can definitely see mid lane excusing themselves with their jungler, with their bottom lane, and taking it out pretty quickly, especially with Leona's passive. Again, I cannot say it enough. That passive is so strong, especially when combined with Ezreal, just able to tick off so much damage in a short amount of time. So you'll have a quick dragon fight. I suspect maybe even 15 seconds is all it will take, maybe less.
Oh, it actually looks like Leona engaging onto the Graves. The Graves getting Sunstrike. Exhaust going down onto Graves. Ezreal trying to fall off as best he can, landing the Ignite, the Cleanse going out. The Ezreal ult missing just barely, but Nocturne counter-engaging onto the Leona. Leona getting taken out by the Dust Trail. And oh, there's a gank going down in the mid lane actually with Maokai, Diana, and Jax from the top lane. It looks like they popped her egg and persisted to do enough damage to kill her.
Oh yeah, especially with Jax in his passive from his ultimate. Just every 3 strikes, extra magic damage. And that burst is really painful, especially when you're in the egg form with reduced armor, reduced magic resist, and you have 3 people hitting you at every given chance as fast as they can.
Looks like they're trying to get on this mid tower right now, actually. The Nocturne doing his best to clear it with his Dust Trail and his Smite, actually. The tower switching aggro onto Diana and to Maokai, doing quite a fair bit of damage. The Crescent Strike landing from Diana.
Maokai could have released his ultimate a little sooner, especially when he was out of the ring, not gaining that 20% reduction anymore. That uses a lot of mana really quickly, especially when you do not have a mana regen item like a Philosopher's Stone. Now, luckily, this Maokai does have a Philosopher's Stone, as well as a Heart of Gold. I see boots and a cloth armor there. I suspect seeing a Ninja Tabby very, very soon, especially with them backing off after getting their buffs.
That Jax poke is proving to be quite a problem for this Irelia right now. She's forced to sit underneath her tower to CS and provide whatever harass she can get. Looks like Jax is actually initiating on with the stun and an ignite, and the jump being enough to kill the Irelia right now.
Not only that, but the entire initiation was under the tower. He is showing no fear with all the armor he has. He is sitting there pretty with 98 armor. That is really strong.
He's also sitting 42 CS ahead of this Irelia right now, and probably about to take his top tower at 16 minutes in the game. He is doing very well right now.
That passive is so strong, especially against any structure. It doesn't matter about the 3rd strike anymore. It's every strike after that 3rd strike.
It actually looks like Leona is fighting onto this Nocturne right now. The Diana landing the pull, the fear going out onto Leona, the ult from Lulu coming out, the flash over the wall from Nocturne proving to be very safe. The Anivia right now actually getting the ignite onto Maokai and getting the kill. Double buff transfer to Anivia, but Ezreal actually going into the fight with Leona. Leona's solar flare hitting onto Graves. The Lulu getting poked down by the Ezreal. The Diana actually coming through the wall, landing her ultimate and picking up the kill on Graves. Irelia's actually down there right now. Looks like they're chasing down. The Lulu might be able to pick up the kill onto the Leona. She flashes for the kill, gets the last auto attack to pick up the kill on Leona.
And taking Leona's flash with her.
Yeah. This Anivia actually right now, Jax is down there. Diana landing, the stun coming out from Jax. Jax looking to pop. Anivia, Ezreal actually picking up the kill, getting the double buff, landing the slow onto Irelia. He's going in. No, the slow from Lulu proving to be too much. The Ezreal ult coming out and tagging Irelia. Looks like there's a ping going down onto Dragon.
Oh, such good fights. We're still Anivia down on the blue team, and we had Leona down. However, Leona is already back up and ready to go with Anivia having 10 more seconds. Red team is going with the dragon fight right now with almost their entire team right there. Blue team is acknowledging that their presence in there, but they are not able to get there and make their presence known as red team picks up that early dragon at 18 minutes.
Yeah, the red team actually would have fairly been okay in that situation. They had a ward in the tri-bush and knew that they were there waiting, but blue team was not strong enough to actually contest it.
Now, red team still having all of their turrets, and meanwhile having the top turret down. They are looking at almost a 4k gold advantage, especially with their farm being so high. Jax's AoE stun is an amazing wave clear, especially with his passive and his speed. He just cleared that entire top lane with almost zero effort, keeping his CS at 151, the highest CS in this game, even above Anivia.
That's actually fairly hard to do.
Oh, extremely. Anivia with her ultimate just being able to drop it like we're seeing now in the mid lane, and her Q just being a giant wave clear, and being able to have that same CS, if not higher.
The Jackson going down actually on the top lane. Nocturne countering with his ult, but no engage actually happening right now.
Nocturne's ulti is a very defensive and offensive ultimate. It is so versatile in use that you can sit there and say, hey, my teammates need to run away. Great, I'm going to drop my ultimate. Meanwhile, you guys flash over a wall why they cannot see you.
Yeah, that... Oh man, looks like 4 people are going to converge onto this mid lane. The Crescent Strike landing onto the Lulu from Diana. Diana going onto the Anivia with that blue buff. Lulu ult actually making Anivia huge in the team fight. And she lands her ultimate, the Ezreal hitting onto the Anivia, the wall coming out, perfect placement. Leona actually coming out from behind and landing a stun onto the Aurelia. The Jax counter-striking right now, landing a stun onto Lulu, getting exhausted. The Ezreal coming in and landing so much damage, getting the ignite onto Lulu. But Grace picking up a kill on Leona. It looks like the egg actually went down from Anivia, but she comes back to life and 2-shots this Diana and taking the blue buff. Oh, that split fight. Oh, the Maokai actually going down with the root onto Graves, and Ezreal landing so much damage onto the Aurelia right now. The Maokai picks up the kill. Looks like the Phage Proc landing onto the Nocturne and the poke going down with her Ezreal. He is having free reign on this team right now.
Oh, most definitely. And then whenever earlier Diana was chasing that Anivia, flashed over the wall, used her arc and ultied, actually knocked Anivia into her egg. However, Diana sustained so much damage from Anivia's ulti before she could pop her into the egg that she had almost no health and was just in a solid rush to take out that Anivia, but was just not fast enough within that 5 seconds to take her down all the way, and Anivia was able to burst her down like that.
Yeah. Man, these teams are doing quite a lot in these team fights right now. This game is looking pretty even, actually.
Oh, most definitely. You have 2 towers for each team. The red team still carrying that solid 3k gold lead with 5 kills up. Definitely having more fights, especially as a group and a team, as you can see with the assists going back and forth. The lowest amount of assists going to Diana with 3. When your carries are getting assists, you know they're actually in that fight doing everything they can, and other people either accidentally picking up the kill or they're sharing it on purpose to spread out that gold. Especially with Leona having the items she does, also having a Heart of Gold and a Philosopher's Stone. They are just trying to keep her fed enough to have wards at all given times, and as you see, she is definitely dropping them at every given chance. While looking at the Lulu, also with the same build of a Philosopher's Stone, a Heart of Gold, and Ninja Tabbies. They definitely are both building against armor, where you have Nocturne going AD, you have Aurelia going AD, you have Graves going AD. It only makes sense to build armor on the red team. However, you have Jax and Ezreal only doing the strong AD for their team, so you just see Lulu really just trying to mitigate that extra damage from auto attacks by 10%.
Oh, it actually looks like the poke is going down in the top lane right now, forcing Aurelia to ult to heal back up.
Jax actually having a Triforce this early is rather amazing, especially having Chainmail and a Vamp Scepter and 2 Dorns. He's definitely.
Oh, it looks like there's an engage going down in the bot lane. The stun coming out from Leona. Nocturne ulting it on top of Diana. The flash from Graves, the collateral damage, and the buckshot, both hitting Diana. Diana getting taken down by Graves. Lulu ulting the Nocturne to keep him alive. Leona dashing in onto Graves. Ezreal picking up the kill with the red buff onto Graves. Leona and Ezreal getting taken down by Anivia, getting the double kill. The Maokai actually still fighting with this Anivia right now with the red buff. It looks like he's actually going to be taken down. That was a good wall by the Anivia. She lands her abilities and just picks up the kill with the Q. Landing
and Nocturne hits. Coming in to get that assist. A very good play, especially when you're trying to get gold for yourself. Meanwhile, Jax was in the top lane saying, hey, you guys are fighting, I'm going to take your turret. In fact, I think I'm going to try and take your second turret too.
He's actually pushing it onto the inhibitor, which is amazing for this team right now.
Nocturne and Graves just not going to get there in enough time, especially with Jax being able to leap away onto his minion and just running. He getting 2 towers for his team. That's 300 gold for all of his team, including himself. Meanwhile, Anivia got around 600, and everyone else got maybe 50 or 48 from these assists.
It actually looks like Jax is getting initiated on right now by the Aurelia and the Graves. He flashes through the wall, the Lulu catches him, lands the slow. Will this team be able to follow up in time? Jax turning on and fighting this Lulu, getting exhausted. The slow actually landing from Lulu, the ward coming out, he jumps onto a creep. That was a really good play by the Jax right there. Oh, Aurelia still going on him. The stun coming out from Leona and the Jax. Maokai engaging, getting the kill. Oh, no. Aurelia flashes away, getting caught by Diana. Diana actually going down onto the Grazing Ignite, going down onto Nocturne. And he gets picked up by Jax,
who decided to come back and show, I am still in this fight, you cannot kill me.
The Nivea actually getting initiated on by the Ezreal. The Nivea trying to pick up a kill onto Maokai, getting the last hit with her auto attack, and Graves getting chased down by this Ezreal, just missing his last shot. And it looks like Leona's going to run into the Anivia right now. The Anivia is going to do the ultimate, land the wall, get the double hit. The Anivia is getting focused down by Leona, but Ezreal actually is trapped away by the wall. She's doing her best to juke this right now, landing her slow. The blade from Leona coming out, but missing as this chase is pursuing. It looks like Graves is actually doing golems to heal back up to try and contest this. Ezreal just barely hitting him with a phase shift, and Anivia going to the tower and being safe.
Oh yes, and then placing wards for that vision to try and pick up those kills was a good play by Leona, but definitely with them already being that far away, they cannot do anything about it. So Leona decides to initiate this dragon fight and pulls it out of the pit. That way blue team cannot easily contest it from over the wall. However, we do see the blue team coming around to contest it, throwing down the dust trail and deciding to fight it.
It looks like Ezreal ulting, landing on two people, while Nocturne actually stole the dragon. And Leona going down from the Irelia. Nocturne ulting in onto the Ezreal, getting dove by the Maokai and Diana at the same time. It looks like they're going to follow onto the Lulu. No, they're just going to take the free ward kill and not get the dragon, unfortunately. Maokai wasn't there to land the smite, and it just was free for Nocturne.
And Lulu deciding to take back some vengeance on that Maokai for killing her ward and decide to kill Leona's ward in the bottom brush.
Woo! Ward kills!
Ward kills! Alright, we see Maokai roaming around saying, oh, hey, there was a ward in that bush that he decided to miss. Now, either he's pulling a St. Vicious and ignoring it, or he really just did not see this.
I think he saw it. I don't know why he decided not to kill it, but Lulu's actually taking advantage and taking time to kill that ward right now.
Definitely. Wanting to clear all the wards in their jungle is a very strong maneuver.
Yeah.
Now, Maokai going back for the vengeance again. Another ward kill!
It actually looks like we have Anivia and Lulu coming out to intercept this Jax right now, who has a GA, landing the counter-strike onto 3 members of the blue team, but looking to run to his team for safety. He leaps out of there.
Definitely. The red team definitely knows how to maneuver with that Jax. Anytime they see Jax in trouble by himself, you notice that their entire team, not just one, the entire team rushes up there to save him. And you always see that cohesion between their team. These guys definitely have played together a lot.
You can see it in the synergy of how they're fighting right now. And that Anivia is actually being brutal in these fights, landing great walls, those ultimates, and she's hitting a lot of double hits with her, what's that ability again?
Which one?
Her E.
Her E, that is her Frostbite. Where it's her Spike, where it does double damage, especially when the enemy is chilled. It does not combo with the Frozen Mount, though I really wish it.
That would be a little bit silly.
Oh, it'd be ridiculously silly, but it would be so strong, and you would see that combination coming on more often.
It'd be quite unusual.
Oh, most definitely. However, with Anivia coming in with the most kills for the blue team at 6, and a 230 CS, she is definitely keeping herself in a very high state of revenue.
It looks like the red team's actually trying to sneak a Baron right now because they do not see any wards. But Lulu is actually coming in and clearing all the wards towards the Baron pit. Maybe they'll see it in time. Let's see what happens. Looks like, no, they're going to give the Baron away for free. It looks like the red team is going to have a nice advantage now with that Baron buff.
Oh, most definitely. The health regen and mana regen will keep them constantly going. Ezreal just going to be able to have free reign with his spells and poke, that he's not ever going to have to worry about mana. He'll be able to spam his Arcane Shift, his Mystic Shot. He'll be able to do whatever he so pleases with his spells, because as you can see right here, his mana is just going up in an insane amount. Jax still being a presence in this game. 6-0-5. He is definitely showing his abilities as a Jax.
Yeah, it looks like they're actually going to get a free inhibitor right now. Oh man, this game is looking very dire for the blue team.
Unless the blue team can come back with a strategy to take down that Jax and that Ezreal, who are just showing extreme damage amounts, especially with their strong, and both being AD. The blue team really needs to start building armor. I would highly suggest a Thornmail for this team, especially on their tank, who's going to be absorbing a lot of the damage.
That I really actually looks to be building towards GA right now with Eternity Force. And the Warden's Mail on the Nocturne. And it looks like those are the only two people right now who are going to be able to actually fully soak up any kind of damage from this Jax or Ezreal.
Exactly. And then you have Anivia over here building a Giant's Belt, just wanting that extra health to sustain with her egg being the way it is, and just needing that extra health to get away and live through the fights, especially with the red team's burst potential with Leona, with Diana, able to go in with her arc, her spheres, and her ultimate. We see the wall going down to try and delay the creeps from coming in, and then dropping her ultimate to the side of it. Definitely a good clinch, and definitely forms a bottleneck to where the creeps have to go a certain way.
It actually is pretty impossible to push onto an Anivia with any kind of mana.
Red team picking up that bottom tower with 0 resistance, but it was already so low that the blue team decided that it was just not worth defending it.
Looks like they're trying to fight for this bot tower right now.
With blue team actually has the stronger poke potential in this, so red team really needs this Baron buff they have and to wave clear as fast as possible. However, they have their creeps coming in a solid stream, and if they can try and bubble this up rather than just push, we can definitely see a turret coming down.
Yeah, that Anivia is doing a great job of keeping the waves behind and not letting it get to the tower with that wall and the ultimate. It's just so hard for them to get in.
Anivia's walls have been spot on all game. I've only seen one bad wall, and that was probably just from the impulse of saying, I need to drop this and drop it now.
But actually the base is being pushed in by those super minions. It looks like they're not going to be able to defend this tower for much longer.
And that was probably red team's big intent, was to say, hey, we have their entire team right here in lane. They have nobody defending their top lane, which is pushing just really hard because of those super minions from the earlier inhibitor. So you definitely see the blue team having to split off now and defend the top lane and the mid lane, where red team, just completely recalled, is going back and buying, especially with their Baron buff almost expired. They have about 10 more seconds on it before it goes.
Yeah, it looks like Jax picking up a Hextech Gunblade to go with his Trinity Force NGA. Oh, he is a force.
Not only is he a force, but he is so tanky that you do not even want to focus him. But that's the problem. You gotta focus this Jax. He is worth so much money right now, being an unstoppable force, even with his kill title being unstoppable.
Fits perfectly.
Red team just soloed Jax on that dragon with 0 opposition. The dragon didn't even stand a chance.
Blue team's actually in no position to be contesting anything right now, with how far ahead red team seems to be.
Oh, looks definitely. Like we have red team with an 8k gold advantage, 6 kills, and 5 turrets. Red team is definitely showing that they are the dominant force in this game. Blue team really needs to rally together and win the next team fight. If they cannot win this next big team fight, I think it will be GG for the red team.
Yeah. That Maokai is doing a great job of clearing out wards in the enemy team's jungle. Keeping them blind on the map right now, which is pretty good.
And we see Graves down here with a Bloodthirster and Phantom Dancers, definitely trying to get that sustain and the speed. That way he can continue to sustain and build himself up in a fight. However, the red team has been really good about focusing him, so that might not show to be too much. With the blue team not having the same peel ability that the red team does, it's very hard to protect this Graves. However, Anivia does have almost all the CC for this team. Nocturne having a fear, Aurelia having a stun, if her health is lower, which seems to be the case quite often in this game, though.
Yeah, the Ezreal's actually doing a very smart thing of ulting the blue team waves as many times as possible to keep them from pushing. And the Jack's actually jumping in and initiating and missing the dodge. It looks like the flash from Maokai going down onto the Anivia underneath the tower, the wall coming out, trapping him behind the tower. Nocturnal going out, but he just gets Lulu ulted and bursted down by the Leona. Ezreal doing consistent damage, getting stunned by the Irelia. The Anivia getting exhausted underneath the tower wall being ignited. And the Jax is actually getting ignited by the Irelia and fought against underneath the tower. And Leona diving onto the Aurelia and getting a kill for Ezreal while Diana picking up the kill into the Anivia egg. And Kraves and Lulu the only one to survive that massacre.
And not only that, but the red team came out with absolutely 0 casualties because of Jax's GA, keeping him alive for that segment of time. And the red team just working together, actually circling around Jax's body and keeping all that damage off of him as a just in case for when he reses. So we definitely see them at low HP. Graves.
Oh, Diana actually initiating onto the Graves, the ult missing from Ezreal, but it looks like they're gonna let him get away with 200 HP.
Which isn't much, especially when he just came in full with the idea of, I can rush it, I can dash in and buckshot and make these guys run, but instead they turned around on him and said, that is not gonna happen, boss man.
Nah, and they're stealing the red buff. Very smart.
Meanwhile, you have the rest of the team backing off, definitely going to be buying some items. Leona having a Shurelya's and a Zeke's definitely is going to keep close to this Ezreal, who just seems to be doing his job and staying in the very far back and dishing out plenty of damage, especially having a Triforce, a Bloodthirster, and he has another BF sword. That's definitely going to get turned into an IE later in this game if it does continue for the next little while.
Yeah, this red team right now is proving to be pretty well off for this game for a GG very soon. It looks like they're heading towards Baron and might just take that very quickly and try to push to win the game.
In fact, Ezreal's only... Oh, actually, just because he just now got enough gold for his Infinity Edge. If he backs off right now, he can turn that BF sword into an Infinity Edge.
It looks like they're just going to take a free Baron and look to end this game very soon.
Oh yes, you have Maokai's ultimate sitting in the Baron pit, protecting everybody from the damage. Now they're all tanky, they all have their own form of sustain, and as you can see at the very end of that, they all left that pit with full health. Mana being the only thing they're lacking. However, that Baron buff soon regen that as if nothing ever happened.
Yeah.
You see Deanna down here with a Rabbiden's Death Cap, an Abysmal Scepter, a Giant's Belt, her boots, and her 2 Doran's items. Still holding on to those since she has not been able to buy another item just yet to replace them, but doing their purpose with the extra health, the mana regen, the AP. It's
looks like Deanna actually initiating onto the Lulu, landing a great pull onto 3 of the blue team. The Leona dashing in, landing the ult onto Nocturne. He gets taken down by the Maokai. The Lulu ult landing onto the Irelia, but she's just getting poked down too hard. Leona actually diving into the fountain and getting taken out by Aurelia. Aurelia actually going onto the Jax, getting poked down, but it looks like the Nexus gets taken down by the super minions. And good game.
Good game, definitely. Goes to America x England. Yowie. The red team, the sub team coming in and taking home the victory in the first round of the brackets.
Yeah, that game was pretty good for the red team. That Jax actually proving to be quite a great snowball for that top lane.
Oh, extremely. Looking at his final score of 609, he showed to be the strongest character in this game, in my personal opinion. Anivia showed a great effort, though, with 633, 298 CS. That is not shabby at all, especially being a 37-minute game. She could have had it higher, but with the difficulties they were having, I can definitely see why it's only a 298. However, still very impressive.
Yeah, it was a very impressive farm from that Anivia. She tried very hard. But yeah, that was a great first game.